وكلا نقص عليك من أنباء الرسل ما نثبت به فؤادك وجاءك في هذه الحق وموعظة وذكرى للمؤمنين.
So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, we come to another session on new Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And after Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, we've discussed Lut alayhi salam. And Lut alayhi salam was discussed because he was the nephew of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. In his time he lived, and that's why he was discussed. And straight after Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, we're supposed to go into Ismail alayhi salam, Ishaq alayhi salam, because they were the two sons of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And straight after that, we're supposed to go into Yaqub alayhi salam, who was the grandchild of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then going to Yusuf alayhi salam. But there's another prophet in between, alayhi salatu salam, and he is Shuayb alayhi salam. Now, why we're discussing Shuayb alayhi salam is because he came not much after Lut alayhi salam, and that is mentioned in the Holy Qur'an, that his time and the time of Lut alayhi salam was quite close. And the reason why we're mentioning him first before we go into these other prophets who are the progeny of Ibrahim alayhi salam is because once we discuss one of the children of Ibrahim alayhi salam, logically we want to just continue in a whole series. And because Shuayb alayhi salam is going to fall right in the middle, it break the sequence. That's why we're going to cover Shuayb alayhi salam first and then return back to Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub and Yusuf alayhim salatu salam. Now, Shuayb alayhi salam was sent to a place called Midian. Now, Midian is a place that is in between Syria and Hijaz. So Hijaz is the current sort of Saudi Arabia, and Syria, as we know it, is a country, but we're talking about a Syria that also has parts of Palestine inside it. So this was the old Syria. So if you kind of think, and it's also a place that wasn't very far from the Dead Sea, where the people of Lut alayhi salam were destroyed. So somewhere on the borders of Hijaz, which is current sort of Saudi Arabia, and the old Syria, there is a place called Midian, and that is where Shuayb alayhi salam was sent. Now he was sent to a people who were misguided for a different reason. And it's so interesting that Allah Azza wa Jal has picked every single prophet in the Qur'an, and every prophet, his people have a different reason why they were led astray. So when you look at Adam alayhi salam, his whole theme is about knowledge. And Iblis was primarily led astray because of his knowledge and his logical reasoning. And of course he had jealousy, which we discussed. But knowledge was a prime thing because Allah Azza wa Jal taught Adam alayhi salam such names that Iblis was left gobsmacked. Where did this creature come from that suddenly gets created, knows all this stuff and knows more than him? So anyway, Nuh alayhi salam, his people, they were stubborn. Stubbornness was a great reason, and it is discussed in the Qur'an, as we've said. 950 years he preached amongst them. Ad and Thamud, both of them were led astray because of their might and power, the physical might and power, because they were giants. And in today's world, you're going to find people with knowledge, which will lead them away from Allah. You'll find people with stubbornness, lead them away from Allah. You'll find people with might and power, strength, lead them away from Allah. And then when you come to other prophets that we've covered, like for example Ibrahim alayhi salam, his people were, and what he faced was a problem of emotions getting mixed in with their reasoning. So there are a number of people on the earth who have that problem, that because their forefathers were on a particular pathway, they just can't let go. They can't make amendments. You're like, how could I come on this because my fathers were on this other way? And then you have Lut alayhi salam, because of their desires, that between their thighs, that's the reason why they were led astray and they couldn't come to terms with what Lut alayhi salatu salam was saying to them. And now we have got a prophet alayhi salatu salam who was sent to a people because of their wealth. They were led astray from the pathway leading to Allah Azza wa Jal. So you can see Allah has chosen all these stories specifically because every single one tells us a different reason amongst the people who went away from Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah says in the Holy Qur'an, Surah Al-A'raf, Surah number 7, Ayah number 85, He says, وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا, and to Midian, to the city of Midian, I sent their brother Shuayb. Now, Allah has named him a brother before he was even sent. Brother before he was even sent. And I mentioned this in one of the other, I think in Nuh alayhi salam's part, that Allah said, أَخَاهُمْ, to Nuh alayhi salam as well. And there's a big lesson in here, which is that you've got to see the misguided people as people whom you have a pity for. You pity these people, you have mercy on these people, you've got to have some kind of way of seeing them as people that are lost people, that should really be with you and your right path. If you can't even see them, now this is brother of humanities, it's not because of brother in Islam, but a brother in humanities, and all people are our brothers according to this ayah, though they don't even accept Shuaib alayhi salam. So they're going to reject Shuaib alayhi salam, they're going to reject Nuh alayhi salam, and Allah says, I send them their brother. I send them their brother. Why? Because even though they're going to reject him, he is still their brother in humanity, and he has that mercy in his heart towards them. So if you want to know further about this, go back to the video about Nuh alayhi salam, and I mentioned a lot there, so I'm not going to repeat that here. Now he said a similar thing which many of the other prophets said, and this was the foundation of their religion, which was, Ya qawmi, O my people, u'budullah, worship Allah, ma lakum min ilahin ghayru, there is no other deity besides Allah. Now this was something which Salih alayhi salam said, which Hud alayhi salam said, and it's been mentioned before, so I'm not going to dwell into that. But what the foundation is that every single prophet came with Tawheed. Every single prophet came with the oneness of Allah, preaching the oneness of Allah. You will not find a messenger that has been sent without this. And every single messenger has also been sent with tadhkir bi ayatillah. They were sent by reminding people about the signs of Allah, which means that Allah gave many different gifts to us. So they told people about the gifts Allah gave, and we're going to look at these inshallah one by one when Shuaib alayhi salam is talking. And this is not just Shuaib alayhi salam, this is every single messenger. They had three means to call people to the oneness of Allah or to the belief. One was to talk about the gifts Allah has given them. Second was tadhkir bi ayyamillah, to talk about the days of Allah, meaning that how Allah destroyed the nations before. And if you don't believe, then the same will happen to you. But if you do believe, then good things will happen to you. And third was tadhkir bil yawm al-akhir, or bima ba'd al-maut. They reminded them of whatever is going to come after death. If you do not find tawheed or the remembrance of a person through the gifts of Allah, through history and how He's destroyed nations, and through what's coming after life after death, then there is no prophethood. That person can't be a prophet. So anyone in history that claims to be or has claimed to be a prophet has to have these things running in their da'wah, on the way they preach. So he starts off by saying, قَدْ جَاءَتْكُمْ بَيِّنَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ, I have come with a clear proof has come to you from your God. Now this is one place in the Qur'an where Allah hasn't discussed exactly what clear proof He brought to His people. What was that clear proof? Because this clearly shows that this must have been a mu'jiza or a miracle. The miracle hasn't been discussed, and the ulama are clear that it hasn't been discussed. Now the question is why? Why is it that Allah says that bayyina, there is a clear evidence has been given, and then Allah doesn't even tell us what that clear evidence is? Just a few ayats before that, He talks about Salih alayhi salam, and He talks about the camel that actually came out of a rock, and we've discussed that before in the series. But He gives us the actual bayyina. He tells us what is that clear proof that Salih alayhi salam came to his people with, and that is mentioned in ayah number 73, 74 and so on. You'll find it there of Surah A'raf, Surah number 7. But Surah number 7, ayah number 85, Allah doesn't discuss that. Why not? Well, the lesson here that we learn is that we don't need to have every single proof to try and get a people to believe in Allah Azza wa Jal. And we don't need to know every single miracle of every single prophet. And it tells us that, subhanAllah, you know, one thing that you find is that you will pick up certain books about the prophets or about history, and they will have details in there that are not found in the Qur'an and Sunnah. So for example, there are certain books, and I'm going to be straight with you, so there are certain books that I picked up myself, and they've got narrations inside there about Iblis and how Iblis was born and how Iblis came about and where he was born, and that a line or something and something else, you know, got together and they were in hellfire, and they sort of, came out, you know, they mated and Iblis came out from there or something, and that's the birth of Iblis. And you'll find things, you know, strange stories about when it gets to, you know, Yusuf alayhi salam, about Zulaykha, who she was, and these fascinating stories about her life and so on. You'll find stories about the prophets who've been briefly mentioned in the Qur'an, and who have nothing else mentioned, but people have, you know, gathered together all these stories. Now, my point is that most of this is either fabricated, or it's near fabricated, or it's very, very weak. What's the point of discussing such things? What's the point of discussing such things when people really just need to get to the bottom of what the truth is? That's the reason why Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned this. And I'm going to give you another reason from the Qur'an. So my whole point is that if Allah hasn't mentioned it, if the Prophet ﷺ hasn't mentioned it, just don't dwell into it. And if you find certain books that dwell into such matters, just leave them, because there's no point. How long are you going to get into those things? I mean, look at when the cow, you know, the people of Bani Israel were told to slaughter a cow. And they asked about its color, they asked about its, about whether it's tilted the land or not done that, whether it's actually watered the land or not done that. And they got themselves in a lot of trouble because of that. And it's a story, inshallah, will come in the future. But Allah made it clear that all they had to do is just slaughter the cow. It was any cow in the beginning, but they made it difficult on themselves when they started to ask Musa alayhi salam, what cow is it? Tell us a bit more about this. We're still not sure, Musa alayhi salam, tell us more. The more they asked, the more difficult it became for them. And look at the people of the cave. The people of the cave. When Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned them in the Holy Qur'an, He said, سَيَقُولُونَ ثَلَاثَةٌ رَابِعُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. You'll find certain people who start now questioning, okay, so the boys went into the cave. I wonder how many boys they were. And they said 3 boys, and the fourth was the dog. And this is mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf, Surah number 18, ayah number 22. وَيَقُولُونَ خَمْسَةً. And some will start saying there were 5, and the 6th was their dog. Rajman bil ghaib, they're just throwing things from the unseen, meaning that they don't even have a clue, they're just making this up. وَيَقُولُونَ السَّبْعَ وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. And some will say it's 7 and the 8th was their dog. And then Allah says, قُل, say this, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, رَبِّي أَعْلَمْ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. Allah knows their actual figure. مَا يَعْلَمُهُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. Not many people know except for a few. فَلَا تُمَارِ فِيهِمْ إِلَّا مِرَاءً ظَاهِرًا. All you're going to end up doing is trying to make some conjecture, trying to make some kind of guess about how many they were, on the surface level of, you know, the amount of guesses that you can make. وَلَا تَسْتَفْتِ فِيهِمْ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا. Allah says, don't even, you, O Prophet, don't even go and ask anyone about them anymore, about their numbers or their qualities and so on. Don't ask that. Why? Because the whole story was about to show life after death. And that's it. You've got the moral of the story. Don't dwell into things that you don't actually need. Now when Allah has said to the Prophet ﷺ, وَلَا تَسْتَفْتِ فِيهِمْ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا, don't you ask anyone, what did he mean? He meant, don't you go and ask the Banu Israel, the Jewish people who are living amongst the Prophet ﷺ, who knew about the people of the cave, who had further information from the Torah about the people of the cave. Allah said, don't even ask any one of them about them any further. Why? Because the point has been addressed, you've got the moral of the story, you know why it was said, move on. Don't get into these particular things about the story. And, there's people go to extremes about asking silly questions. And silly questions, hypothetical questions, there's no end to them. I'll give you a quick story and you'll understand from this. Yeah? So this one man, and this is a real story, I'm not making this up. This guy, he asked I think a mufti of Deoband, Mufti Mahmoud, I think it was. He asked him a question. He said, Mufti, suppose I was in a battle and I'm fighting with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Suppose that. Basically, he's talking about a historical, scenario here. First is you can't even go back in time. That's one problem. Yeah. So he says, suppose I was fighting with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the enemies took me. And they put me onto their shield. So they had a massive shield and they put me on the outside of the shield. And when the Muslims were actually attacking with the Prophet ﷺ onto this side, I was on that shield, on the outside of the shield. And basically they're using me as a human shield. So what would my case be? What should happen here? What happens if I die here and one of the Muslims kills me? Now you think about this hypothetical question. It's so silly, all right? First, you can't go back in time. Second is he puts himself in a really sort of precarious situation. And third is, subhanallah, you've got the Muslims and the Prophet and the Sahaba fighting him, right? And he wants to be with them, but he's being caught. And what does he do? So you know what the Mufti said? He said, the answer is, if I was you, and I was there in front of that shield, and I was the human shield, and the Muslims are right against you, and you're being drawn slowly towards the Muslims as a human shield. He said, you know what? If I was you, I'd ask the Prophet. Do you understand? The Prophet's just there in front of you. Yeah? You'd ask him, Prophet ﷺ, tell me, Ya Rasulullah, what should happen to me? What about if I die? You silly person. Like the question is so silly, so dumb sometimes that you think, what's the point of getting into these hypothetical questions, right? So anyway, this ayah here, Surah A'raf, ayah number 85, Allah didn't say the mu'jiza and we don't need to go inside it any further. But some other ulama have said that the bayina or the clear proof or the sign he had was his speech. Because Allah gave him a very eloquent way of communicating with his people. And they say that was one great, miracle he had. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of his miracles was that he had jawami'ul kalim, which means that he was very succinct. He was able to say a few words and have a lot of meaning in it. So we move on. He said to them, Shuayb AS said to them, فَأَوْفُوا الْكَيْلِ وَالْمِيزَانِ وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. He said, fulfill your measurements. Now there's two ways of giving people a measurement when you want to barter with them. One is a kail. Kail means you have a utensil or you have a measuring piece or a cup to measure, and with that you take something, you measure it and you give it to the other person. So for example, sometimes, and I know these days most of it in the Western world is all to do with weight. So most of it has moved to weights. But if you go to some of the developing countries, they've got certain measurements that they have with which they give you amounts. So they have, a small one, like they might call it a quarter. They have a bigger one, they call it a half. They have a bigger one than that, they call it a whole. And they've got these measurements. So, down this side on the in the Western world, I think one of the only things you have that still continue like this is when they measure sort of nuts, nuts. And sometimes sweets, they take a kind of a measuring, so large spoon kind of thing, and they'll dig it in, and then they'll take a whole spoon or something out of it, and they'll measure it and give it. So this is known as kail in Arabic. It's a measuring utensil that you use. The second one is mizan, which is a weighing scale. So in the traditional sense, it was a piece of wood or something, and it's got some strings attached to it, and it holds two sort of weighting parts. One you put the item in, and the other one you put the weights, and then you try and balance it and make it sort of equal, and the person holds it on top, okay, to balance it. Today you've got actual weighing scales, and the weighing scales will, you just put it on the weighing scale and it measures for you. Now, just as you've got people who used to cheat in the old days, you've got people who cheat in the new world that we live in, and I'm going to get to that. But what did these people used to do? One of the primary things that these people did is they cheated people in how they measured and how many measurements they gave, and they cheated people in the actual weights and the scales that they had. And there's a number of ways you can do it. Okay, those people who are in business, they know how to do it if they're going to cheat. And a man who's going to cheat you, la ilaha illallah, he's going to want to cheat you the moment you haven't looked at him. And it's a very crafty thing to do, to cheat people. So how do they cheat you in the measurements? Well, what they do is, the actual measurement itself, the actual measuring utensil, you make a new one that is a little slightly smaller. Or you make one that is same size, but in the bottom of it, at the bottom, you make another layer at the bottom that doesn't fill it up from the bottom upwards. So for example, if this was the original bottom and that was the height of the utensil, what they'll do, they'll make it the same size. So it's the same size, but that thick bottom they will put, that thick sort of layer at the bottom. So basically they've cheated you that much, and you can't even tell. When they measure it, you think, yeah, it looks the same size, but in the bottom they put something there, they filled it up with some metal or something, and you can't see it, and they're giving you, instead of giving you 1 kg every time, they're giving you 0.8 of a kg. And you don't even feel it. There's another way, which is that you measure, and you've given a whole bag you got a whole bag ready for the person. Yep, you put it down, you measure again, measure again. Got another whole bag ready for him. Yes, he's seeing you, measure it, puts it on the side there, just beside him, behind the table, and they measure another one, put in another bag, and put 3 bags, yep. And then when it's time, he's taking your money from you. He's measured 3, that's fine, but he's got another 3 bags already ready. He's got another 3 bags identical, but each of the 3 bags have got less amounts. So imagine they were 3 kg, he measured in front of you, puts it behind, to his side, and he's got another 3 bags, the total of which will come to 2.5 kg. And he'll give you those 3 identical, sort of outside and so on and so on. La ilaha illallah, there's people today who still do that. There's even, the way to cheat with the scales, many. Right? One of the ways is when they hold the scale, right, is to take the little finger, put it on the side there, and just make it go up and down. Right? So basically, if you put weights here, then it will measure it out, right? But with the little finger on the side there, they'll either drop it or they'll lift it, right? And they'll show you that it's weighing balanced, but it's not really balanced. If they let go of the little finger, it will show that they're giving you less. And that's an easy sort of trick to do. Another one to do is, the actual weights itself, you get them remade again. It says 5 kg on there, but it's not 5 kg. It's something else. And they know which one to put at what time to make it more weighty and so on. And the modern day to do this is, the actual scale itself, they play around with it. They play around with the actual scale. What you can do with the scale is that you can make it be, let's say 10 grams more, 20 grams more. You can make it half a kg. So it starts off with plus half a kg, or it starts off with plus 50 grams. Now you can do that. The machine allows you to do that because sometimes what you're doing is you're weighing something and you've got a bag, and the bag itself might be 2 grams or 5 grams or whatever. Okay, so the machine allows you to do that. So put a plus 2 grams so that it caters for your bag and whatever you're measuring. So you're not sort of selling something and you're getting ripped off because of you for providing the bag. But what some owners do is that they mess around with it and they put a much higher amount. Forget the bag. They want to cheat you. So this guy in St. Albans told me, once, it's a true incident again. He said to me, and he was an Egyptian, mashallah, and Egyptian brothers, mashallah, they say things as it is, mashallah, and Allah's given them a strength. So he says, Ya Allah, Ya Shaykh, this guy, he robbed me. I said, how did he, what happened? He said, Wallahi, I went to his shop. I went there, I told him, I said, give me 8 kg meat. So he weighed, he gave me 8 kg on his scale. Wallahi akhi, I went home, I weighed it myself, it was 6 kg. So I went back to him, to his shop, I gave him meat, I said, take it akhi, I don't want meat. I gave it back. He said, Shaykh, I came to the masjid, I came inside, and I'm trying to pray, and wallahi Shaykh, all my khushu gone. All my khushu gone. So what happened, Shaykh? He said, that man who sell me the meat, he's standing next to me and praying. So he cheat me 2 kg and he's next to me praying. Wallahi, I go in sujood, I think how Allah going to make your salah qabul and accept it. So anyway, the point is that you've got crooks like that today. People are robbing each other with loads of ways, it's not just with measurements of, this is measurements of actual weights. You got builders who are ripping people off, and they're buying stuff. They show you receipts, so they buy stuff. They take part of the stuff for themselves. They store it in their garage, and they give you the rest of it. And you don't know the guy's storing stuff in his own garage, and you paid for it. And he'll show you 18 boxes of tiles, and he's got the 19th one, 20th one at home, which he got. For himself, and they start playing with each other. I'm a victim of that as well. Yeah, okay, subhan, la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. I'm a victim of it as well. I went to, one of the builders, he comes to me, I'm not going to give you his name here, he comes to me, yeah, and he says, if I buy these other tiles of him, he's going to give these tiles, the kitchen small sort of tiles, he said, I'll give you them for free. So you think, wow, if I buy these floor tiles, I get these other kitchen small tiles, the ones that you put the black splash or something? What do they call them? That's the mosaic ones, yeah? So he said, I'll give you them for free. I thought, okay, fine. It's a good deal. So I took them off him, and he plays those mosaic ones, and I bought these other ones off him, and then I find out that he's ripped somebody else off before me, and he's ripped somebody else as well, and he ripped somebody else as well, and I said, okay, be worried. So I went and I visited the house, and I'm sitting with this woman, and this woman tells me that, this builder came, and, he bought for me this many amount of tiles, and I saw half of them missing. I thought, what? Missing? So I walked with her in the kitchen, and ya ilahi, the mosaic in her house, the missing tiles, is in my house. La ilaha illallah. So first thing is I said, please forgive me. She said, why? I said, your missing tiles are in my house, free of charge. Free of charge. She didn't make an issue out of it. She knew that this was a dodgy builder. What I'm trying to say to you, there's so many ways of ripping people off. Cloth, you buy cloth, and they cut the cloth. But when they cut it, they will cut it in a certain part. They know they're very crafty. They know they want to give. You want 10 meters of them, they'll give you 9.8 or something. They know you're not going to come back. There's banks that rob you with money, small amount of monies. If every bank robs every person, just 10p, just 10p, every person, 10p. You know that? That's millions of pounds for them. And they've got caught a few times. They've got caught. They don't care, because the fines they're going to get is never going to be equate to the amount of money that they've robbed from all the people. You won't equate it. There's so many ways that people are getting robbed today. And there are, so I've told you about the cloth ones, right? There's ways you will go and you will buy an item, and they will give you that item knowing that the item itself is dodgy, and after a few days it's going to, you're going to have problems with it. But they'll say to you, you buy it as you see it. So you take it as you see it, that's it. So it's a car or it's something else, and you see it and you think it's all fine, but you later on realize that you've just been ripped off. And there are many ways, that are schemes to robbing people off. But the thing is, when you rob somebody, or if you take away something from someone, what you've just done is you have taken something away from someone, and you thought you made an extra amount of money. That's what every guy in the trade who rips somebody else off thinks he's done. He's made that extra amount of money. But what they do is they kill off the barakah and the blessings in the halal they had. So let me explain this to you. Yeah, if you had, let's say you had a really nice sort of whole, let's say 5-liter bottle, or let's just call it 2-liter bottle because you're familiar with that. 2-liter bottles of Coke, right? You got this 2-liter bottle of Coke for free. As in that you robbed the guy and you got it, yeah? So you think, haha, I've got this 2-liter bottle of Coke. Now if you take that 2-liter bottle of Coke and you open the 2-liter bottle of Coke, and then what you do is you take 1 drop of urine. 1 drop of urine, you know, that comes out of your, yeah? You put 1 drop in the 2-liter bottle. Would you drink it? Would you drink it? No, you wouldn't. Now, does the 1 drop of urine really make a difference? It doesn't make a difference. You wouldn't probably taste it, but you know that that 1 drop of urine is haram. And because of that 1 drop of urine, the whole 2 liters becomes what? Haram. And the good 2-liter bottle of Coke that you could have had, now you wouldn't drink it because you know there's a 1 drop of urine. That's the same thing that happens when a person is trading and they've made some amount of halal. So that you know, the guy's trying to sell you 3 kg of meat, and he sold you 2.8 or something. For just that 0.2 kg that he robbed you, the money he took off you, so let's just say the money was 12 pounds. He took 12 pounds off you. That 12 pounds, out of that, 11 pounds something is halal, and 60p or 50p or 40 or 30p is haram. That 30p that you've taken from him extra, instead of taking 11 pounds 60 or something, or 11 pounds 70 or something, that 30p is like urine in the rest of the Coke. And you've taken that. And just like the urine in there, in the bottle, will be infectious to you, and it's not good for your body to take that, or if it was blood in there or something else, or pig's blood in there, you'd never take it, you'd never drink it. The same way, when you take the 12 pounds in full and you put it into your counter, you've just put in some haram that's going to kill off the rest of the halal that has come with it. So 11 pounds something was halal for you, you took 30 pence haram in there, that 30 pence is going to kill off a lot. And people don't understand this, and this is what Shuaib AS actually said to them. He warned them and he gave them very good nasihah. I'm going to tell you exactly what part that is. This is in Surah number 11, Surah Hud, ayah number 86. He said, Baqiyatullahi khayrul lakum in kuntum mu'mineen. He said, if you're believers, then the remaining halal that you've got in that, without the haram, is very good for you. Khair is much better for you than to take that little bit of haram in it, because that little bit of haram kills everything off. And what it does is, haram money, when it comes in, it creates people, it makes people want to have a dispute with one another. This is one thing established from the Qur'an, and I want to take this opportunity to say that because of the haram money people take, they become corrupted. So look at Shuayb AS. What he says is, فَأَوْفُوا الْكَيْلِ وَالْمِيزَانِ. Be just and give fulfilling amounts of measurements. Don't cheat people. And when you balance things, don't cheat people. And then he said, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Don't go and snatch things off people. Don't rob people. And then he said, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. Don't ruin the land after it's been rectified. You know why he's saying all of this? Because once you take haram money inside you, you start to become corrupted. That haram money you've just taken in is going to affect your behavior. It's going to affect your mind. The first thing it'll affect is your qalb and your mind. Because in return of that, what happens according to Sahih Hadith of Muslim is a black dot is going to be placed onto the heart. The more haram he takes, the black dot, black dot, black dot, black dot gets placed in his heart. What happens is the mind starts to become corrupted. One of the first things that happens to a person who takes in haram, and this is haram in general, so it's not just alcohol, it's not just gambling, it's not just being corrupt by cheating people, but any form of that. In another part of the Qur'an, Allah Azza wa Jalla has said the effects of this haram. So this is the 7th juz, Surah Ma'idah, Surah number 5 and ayah number 91. So ayah number 90, Allah establishes about alcohol, gambling and so on, that rijsun min amali shaitan. It's a filth from one of the actions of the shaitan. So what happens is, when you trade and barter in haram, shaitan finds it very easy to come and sit inside here, inside your heart, inside your mind. Oh, he gets in there, he says, man, the guy's created me a DFS cushion and a sofa. Yeah, so you just created him a nice sofa that he sits inside, because the malaika, the angels, start to move away from you. That's number one. Second is, Allah said, innama yuridu shaitan. Once shaitan gets inside there, and yuqi'a baynakumul adawa wal baghda, he will create enmity in your heart for one another. Now, what happens is, when one man takes haram and he's making business here, the people who make haram business slowly get to know other people who are doing haram business. Yes or no? Yes? It's very clear. The people who stay away from haram business, everyone knows who they are. It's become such a world. If you're an honest businessman, people know that you're an honest businessman. From far, Allahu Akbar, I just went to Palestine, and the same thing happened when I went to Bangladesh. These currencies, they exchange, you exchange your notes for the currency of the land. There's a lot of cheating going on in there. They know that their price is different, but they'll just to cheat you a bit, they'll put it up. Okay, if you want to make extra business, then you should tell people, look, it's this much, I want to make this much. Why is it that there's one man in the whole of the town who's got two sort of, whole dinars or something lower than everybody, or higher than everybody else? Why is that the case? Okay, I understand they want to make business, yeah, but you don't make business to try and rip people off. There's an amount you should make. So anyway, in Palestine, when I went there, I met an individual. Out of all the guys who are exchanging currencies, there's one man who always has a lower price than everybody else, meaning that he gives you more. Bangladesh, in the heart of Sylhet town, in the heart of the Ambur Khana, where they've got loads of these traders for currency exchange, there's one man there, people talk about him, that man, whatever currency rate he says, that's the real going rate, and you will get the best deal for him. But anyway, the crooks know crooks. Crooks know crooks, yeah? So, but the thing is, what happens is, if I'm cheating someone, and I cheat someone like, I cheat them 0.2 kg, and the other crook in front of me, he cheats them 0.4 kg. I get upset with him. I say, you crook. He says to me, who are you calling a crook? You crook? One crook can't stand another crook. True or not? They have arguments between them. They go, hey man, why are you ripping off them that much for? It's like, you want to rip them off, there's a man, you should rip them off. What are you talking about, man? You're a crook yourself. But they have competition. And then the thing is, he feels bad. When the other guy's ripping 0.4 and he's doing 0.2, he thinks, man, he's making more than me. So what does he do? He tries to compete with him. So he rips him off 0.5. Then the other guy starts complaining, hey man, you called me a crook yesterday, now look at you. He says, well, everyone's doing it, right? What happens in the market is, people start, all the crooks, they have this thing between them that they want to do those kind of, they want to cheat people, because between them, now what happens is, if one crook gets into trouble, look at the crookedness, if one crook gets into trouble, then it's like the other crook will say, ha, you got done. Now this guy's going to hate him for that. Yes or no? Yes. This is how the enmity starts. This is what Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned in the Qur'an. This is one type of enmity that says adawa wal baghda. So enmity starts between the crooks. And then what they do is, all these crooks, the biggest thing they've got in mind, why did they rip somebody off in the beginning? The reason why they ripped them off is because they wanted to make more money. Yes or no? Yes? So what they do at the end of the day is, they keep news on him, how much did that crook make, and how much did that crook make, and how much did that crook make. So the news goes round, and by the end of it they hear, man, he made that much, man, jealousy comes, yes or no? Jealousy comes, and they think, oh, he made that much, I wonder, what's he doing? They go over there to see. I'll give you a typical example. The Bengalis, yeah? Bengalis in his Because I'm a Bengali, I can say this here. So some of my fellow men, they came to this country, and I don't know why, but one man got into the alcohol business. They all said, you know what, there's no other business for us except for alcohol business. I don't know what's wrong with them. Yeah. One Pakistani guy comes over and he gets into cabbing. The rest of the Pakistani says, you know what, I can't do anything except for taxiing. I don't know. One Indian guy comes over and says, I want to open a sari shop. The rest of them say, I want to open a sari shop. Now there's something between those, in those people. I don't know, same as you Somalians as well. One guy comes over and he opens what's in yours, a cafe, right? They all open cafes. One opens a grocery shop. They all open that. But I'll tell you one thing good at least about you guys, the ones who are cabbing and the ones who are opening these shops, they're halal. End of the day, they're halal. But unfortunately, some of the Bengalis have got into a haram way of making these alcohol shops. And the Turkish people are the same. I don't know why they've made these 24/7 off licenses where they're just selling alcohol all the so hours round. Anyway, look, I want to tell you about this. I know about the Bengalis. What they do is, and it's not just about Bengalis, the rest of them are doing the same thing. The crooks, all the crooks. All right. So what happens is that every week, the ones who work in restaurants, every week, every restaurant owner seems to know how much another owner made. And they talk about it. They said, oh, got busy there. You know why? Because the waiters who are working, they talk to each other. And they mix with each other. So one waiter will talk about how busy one Saturday night was, and the other one will talk, and they'll gossip, and they'll move the information around. And that creates a lot of enmity between them, and a lot of jealousy between them. But I'll tell you one thing here. And another thing is, most of these Bengali sort of restaurants here, a lot of them are cheating the taxman as well. See, when you want to cheat, you might as well cheat everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So they cheat the taxman. How do they cheat the taxman? They say to the taxman, oh, I've got this guy working for me. I'm giving him £45 for the whole of the week. Minimum wage. That's all they're saying, yeah. And the back of it, they're giving them wonders of money. So basically, he's really getting £250 a week, and on record, he's only getting £50. That's it. So what happens after a while is the taxman, come on, man, the guy's British, you know what I'm saying? He's the one who brought you over to this country. He ruled your country before he got you over. Don't you think you're going to start running rings around him? So anyway, what happens is that by the end of it, either the taxman gets them. If the taxman doesn't get them, the money that they made, and they've got this rivalry between each other, what happens is that they start to really fall out with each other, with the other crooks. Or one crook wants to get another crook by grassing him up. It happens. They grass, when the jealousy gets too much, they want to grass him up. They'll send the taxman over. The guy who phoned up and said, excuse me, not saying my name, no, my name more, but I tell you that man over there, no taxes. He makes £2,000 a week and no taxes, right? So they'll grass each other up. Or if it's not that, what happens is these guys in haram, they lose their lives. The enmity happens in their families. Most of them, I want to know today, please, if you can do this for me, I'll be really happy. I'll change what I'm saying. I'll do tawbah, that I'm talking about these guys, right? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. But anyway, what I'm trying to say to you, if you can prove me wrong, most people that I have observed, in fact, all of the ones I've observed, who are selling alcohol, they don't have peace. They don't have peace. You can have as much money as you want, but there's certain things you can't buy. One thing you can't buy is peace. Another thing you can't buy is love. Another thing you can't buy is trust. You can't buy these things. They're not on for sale. They're not on for sale. And if Allah moves away His barakah and you've got shaitan sitting in there, He's never going to let you rest. So what happens is, at home, a lot of these Bengali guys, see, look at the lana, look at the curse. They don't see their family members for 6 days a week. They go out to work from 4 o'clock, they come back at 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. The main family time they don't get to spend with their kids. But they're giving the money. They give the money to the wife, money to the kids, tuition being paid, this and that. After 10 years of life, when the kids have grown up, father doesn't know son, son doesn't know father. Say, hey dad, thanks. Give me all the money you want. Ain't your son, mate. ain't your son. The father tries to get the son to do something, the son like, not going to do it. He's got no relationship, no love between the father and son. The wife, in many cases, doesn't know her husband. He comes 2 o'clock, she's half dead, tries to jump on her at 2 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like half dead. Make me something at 2 o'clock in the night. She has to get downstairs, make him some curry, give him some food at 2 o'clock in the night. Then again, she's got to get up in the morning, she's going to make the school run again with the kids and all that. Right? And then he's up. What time is he up? He's up at 11, 12 o'clock. He gets up, just about sees his wife for a couple of hours, makes his shopping, whatever. 4 o'clock comes again, 4 o'clock. His kids come home, he goes out. His kids come from school, he goes out. Imagine 10, 15 years like that of your life, finished, ruined. And then, if that doesn't get them, you know what really gets them? La ilaha illallah. They basically get all this money, yeah? So, Allah said in the Holy Qur'an, الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَ. The one who gets his money and he counts it again and again, counts it again and again, counts it again and again. See, that's what goes in their mind, yeah? They want to rip people, how much money, how much money, how much money, how much money. So what they do with the money is like, what are you going to do with your money? You can't hide it in this country, can you? You can't hide it. If you put it in the bank, the taxman will say, hey, you pay £50 to your employees, where's all this money coming from? So they can't hide it here. The guy can't even buy a house. If the guy goes to buy a house with cash, the bankers will, hey, where do you get that money from? You know, where do you get it from? So what they do is, they send it overseas. They say, if I can't build a big house here, I want to build it overseas. So he sends it over every year. He goes, he sees his building, getting bigger and bigger, 5 stories. Oh, mashallah. All the latest gear inside there, AC inside there, sofas in there, TVs in there, ensuite, every single room. You look at it and you think, wow, the guy's got money, yeah? But the problem is, the guy can't live there. Because the guy, his heart wants to still come to this country and rip people off and make more money. And look, going haram, yeah? Then one day he finds out, he gets a call from abroad, hey, someone's entered your 5-story building. What? Who's that? Some guy says it's his. Huh? Time to go. Nah, he's got a gun. Huh? He's gone. My friend, then he goes all the way over. He wants to get that guy out. Now he has to put a case down. These are real stories. This is tens and tens of stories in Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and so on. There's tens and tens of stories. So he wants to go back, and now he wants to get this guy out of his house. So he's got to make a case with the government. Now he makes a case. He puts, a good 3 million taka down, which is like, might be about £3,000 or something. So he puts that down. Yeah? He wants to fight you. But now he's in another mess. You know why? Because a crook works with another crook. See that crook in his house, he's paid off the coppers. He paid off the police. He's given the money. Now when the 3 million goes to the court, the judge says, hey you give me 3 million, okay. Hey you, how much you give me? He says 4 million. So good, give me 4 million, the case is yours. So this guy now, from this country, has to give 6 million, 7 million. If the other guy can pull 8 million, 9 million, judge says, okay, it's yours. So he spends 10 million, 12 million. In the end, he gets his home back. Just about. For what? For another guy to walk in another day and take over it. And in the end of it, if that doesn't get them, the saddest thing about these people is, he did all of that. He doesn't eat his own wealth. He dies. He dies and some others eat that. All his life, he went into haram, ripping people off, going towards selling haram, trying to make more money. He made all of it, and in the end, his own family bury him, and while he's in the grave, he thinks, man, all of that. And some others come and take it and they distribute it amongst themselves. Right? So what did Allah say in the Qur'an? He said, adawa, enmity, baghda, hatred, fil khamri wal maisir, especially regarding alcohol and gambling. And then he said, وَيَصُدَّكُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَعَنِ الصَّلَاةِ. Shaitan will stop you from remembering Allah, and shaitan will stop you from praying. Most of these guys who have restaurants, who have alcoholic businesses, they don't pray. Yes or no, tell me? They don't pray. They don't do the dhikr of Allah. They don't remember Allah. They're sucked into the well so much that the hearts become corrupted. So here Shuaib alayhi salam, in Surah number 7, ayah number 85, he's saying because they cheated in the measurements and the balancing, that leads to the other corruptions. So what did they do in his time? They started a mafia. What was this? You had, the corruption starts in the marketplace. And when you can't compete with the corruption in the marketplace, what you do is you try and corrupt on a high level. If you want to corrupt on a high level today, see today the small corruption is going on the marketplaces. Whoever's doing it, I'm not saying everyone's doing it, but there's some people who are doing it. The bigger corruption is you become a middleman in between and you corrupt. So for example, most of these grants that are given out from the government, there's corruption going on. You know these roadworks you see? There's roadworks going on for 6 months at a time. Yeah? Contractors, yeah? Corruption, brother. We know it. It's going on. They know it's going on. It's called a white envelope or a brown envelope, or the new thing is a brown bag. The white envelope under the table, £1,000. Brown envelope, £3,000. Brown bag, £10,000. Yeah, give me the contract. A lot of these MPs, they've got people who are related to them somehow who get the contracts. And they get it because they're giving amounts under the table. And then what you see is me and you see 6 months of work, 12 months of work going on and on. Contractors being paid, hardly any work being done. Corruption is going on. But that's on a larger level. There's monopolies being created with certain amounts. People take them and they take them wholesome, and they'll only release it when everyone needs it at a higher price. One of the things they did, these corrupted people, is in Shuaib AS' time, is that they started this mafia tactic of taking 10% of anyone who wants to bring their goods to Midian. So they were on a highway that stretched from Asia all the way on the Silk Route, the old sort of Silk Route, the Asian sort of route, all the way to Arabia. They were on that highway. So as soon as you came in Midian, you were about to make big bucks because there's a lot of trading going on here. So what they did is they were on the roadside and they would wait there till passerbys came with a caravan of goods. And they would stop them and say, listen, 10%, give me 10% of the business you're going to get, all right? Then I'm going to let you go in. If you don't, you're finished. Either I'm going to kill you, I'm going to take your goods off you. So either they give him some money there and then, or they make the trade and they've got their eyes on them and they take 10%. Mafia work in the same way. They go to certain businesses, they say, give us an amount to protect you. Who called you in the first place protection? They come, they say, I'm going to protect you, so I'm going to take an amount off you. And if you don't give it, obviously they're going to ruin your business. They'll either flame it, they'll either destroy it with a flame, they'll kill it off in one way or another. And you're obliged to give that. Now if you go to the police, you're a dead man. Because they'll get you. They'll come after you once they find out, because half the police get corrupt. Now what happens in these societies is that when corruption prevails, it goes from one to another, and it corrupts the entire system. Judges become corrupted. Police become corrupted. Right? And it spreads. And the police who don't take bribes, they themselves are sidelined. They're sidelined. Now there are good policemen out there in these countries who don't take bribes. There are good judges who don't take bribes. And I've met some of them who won't take bribes off you. But la ilaha illallah, those of them that take bribes, it's like soon you're in a country that you can't even live peacefully. Like in Bangladesh, I've just come now, back from Bangladesh. You've got a car, everything's okay with the car. Your MOT's passed, everything. You've got your license, you've got the whole car, top to bottom, everything's working. And the police stop you. And they start looking at your car with a torchlight. They start looking at it. Where's your papers? So you give the papers, they're like looking at your papers and that. Say, look, something's not right, something's not right. All they want you to do is pull out 100 taka or 200 taka and give it to him. If you give him 100 taka, he's go. If you don't give him 100 taka, 200 taka, he'll carry on looking at your car, he'll say, it's not right. It's not right. The wheel doesn't look right. So you say, look, the wheel is looking right. It's not looking right. If you say, look, it's looking right, man, I'm telling you, I just changed it right now, what's wrong with it? Say, oh, so you're showing your attitude to me, huh? That's it. He's going to file in the papers, forget your car, he's going to now say, you insulted a police officer. So you've got to try and give give him something. Now there's a few police out there that won't be that corrupted, who won't do that with you. But a lot of them are corrupted. And forget him being corrupted. I said over there, I said, listen, that guy's corrupted. What about his senior? They said, senior? They laughed at me. I said, what do you mean? He said, the senior has told the police under him, he's told all of his police force, he said, I don't care what you do, yeah. By the end of the day, I want this many thousand taka for myself. He's given them a target for himself. He said, I want this amount. Before they even started. He said, you can do what you want, but I want this many thousand taka for myself. I said, come on, man. I said, come on. What about the MPs? Can you go and talk to the MPs? And they laughed at me. They said the MP of the district has told the main police headquarters, I don't care what you do, I want this many millions for myself. The MPs already told them, I want this much. If I get this much, you're safe. I don't care what happens, you're safe. And the guy below you, he's safe. And he's telling to the guy below him, you're safe. As long as they give their cut to the guy above. And that's how it happens. So corruption is something that, and Allah says, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ Don't corrupt the earth after it's been amended, because the corruption wasn't there from beforehand. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ That is better for you if you are believers. If you are believers. So now, Shuaib a.s. was trying to get them to stop their corruption. And there were people who were corrupted because of their wealth. And there's going to be many different conversations that take place between them. There's threats and other things that take place. Inshallah, in the next few sessions, we're going to discover these with that. Jazakumullah khair. I'll see you next week, inshallah, after Isha. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
الذكر علم ونور الحاملات سنا ونور والرسمات هنا سرور يا حلوات تلك السنين